Hello, I'm Keegan. I'm your host of the podcast Headspace, where we go at the heads pace. So today is our first episode, and I'm happy to introduce my guest, Abigail. She is a friend, and we're going to be talking about grief today. So, Abigail, why don't you come in? All right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How was getting here? Was it nice?
Yeah, love the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So, tell me about yourself, career aspirations, hobbies, whatever.
Well, growing up, I really loved dancing. I really loved the arts. It's literally my favorite thing to do. Career-wise, I'm really trying to get into social work. I and it's not just social work, but working in like a hospital with stroke victims and their families and stuff. I feel like I would really love that. So,
Oh, so you work with stroke victims?
mhm.
You must build a lot of empathy with that.
No, definitely, yeah.
That's good. Well, it's good to know that you're helping the community, right?
Mhm.
So how do you think that has affected your mental health working with these people who are going through such hard times?
Well, honestly, I feel like it has been pretty tough, especially since my father had passed away from a stroke earlier this year. So it kind of like I don't know, I feel a little bit of jealousy. I'm not gonna lie, but
That's normal.
it's usually like, okay, I kind of see my father in these people, like what if he were still here? I would have helped him the same way.
Yeah, that must be tough to deal with, but it's good that you're taking that pain you have and helping others with it instead of just like bottling it up and it could
Definitely.
lead to many harmful outcomes, right?
Mhm.
So how do you think the grief has affected you like in your day-to-day life?
I feel like I've become more prone to like forgetting things, especially because that time was pretty rough for me. Having people in my circle coming in left and right, it just really messed with my mental.
Yeah.
I can say I've become a little more anxious than usual. Growing up, I've always been an anxious person, but with this event happening and it happening really quick, I've become even more anxious. So,
Oh, so you feel like with the passing of your father, you've become more anxious and started thinking more about other things.
hmm
So what's one of these thoughts you have?
um, that's a good question. I would say my thoughts are usually about like if he was still here. Like small things I would see, like my father, for example, he loved gardening, you know.
Yeah.
At my house, he had like his own little personal garden. And so whenever I would go out and see a bunch of pretty flowers or I would see other people gardening, I'd be like, what if that was him, you know?
So you just imagine if he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As someone who also lost his father, I can relate to that. Like just thinking about all the things you would have done with him, and it is very unfortunate that you can't do it, but it's just something you gotta live with.
Exactly.
So how do you think you got over that grief, like if you
Um,
have at all?
I don't think I've gotten over it, to be honest. There's still some times where I kind of feel like I'm back in that moment, and it's like I feel all those emotions of sadness, anger, like, all over again. And it's really tough, but I feel like as days go by, it gets a little easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that it's getting easier, though. What do you think is helping you make it easier
But just hanging out with people who love me and who love my father, you know, hanging out with people who constantly tell me how much I remind them of him. I feel like a part of him is still here.
then?
Because everybody loves to talk about, oh, he might not be here physically, but spiritually he's here or this or whatever. And it's like, okay, but I would like the physical.
Yeah,
But knowing, I'm his child, so I guess he's kind of still here physically because I am like, half of him. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's fair, yeah. I do see myself in my own father sometimes. Like randomly, I'm doing something, and my mom will be like, "Oh, your dad used to do that."
Yeah,
So it's good to know that a part of him is in me as well, and I'm sure
definitely.
you feel that too, right?
No, definitely, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
especially when I'm helping people and I'm, just, I guess, like, because just myself, I help people, but that's something my father did all the time. He usually used to like put people before himself,
Oh,
and I do that a lot. And so they're like, yeah, your dad used to do that all the time. Your dad used to always help me with this, do this for me and stuff. So.
so you think he taught you to be a better person?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He was just such a lovable, huggable type of guy.
Uh,
Like he was a father figure to so many people and kind of like a moral compass for a lot of people. So I am glad I got those, positive traits and I get to be that for other people.
okay, well, it seems like he was a really good person, and it's great that you got to know him before he passed, right? Because
Definitely.
some people don't even, like, their father's not even present in their lives, or they die
Hmm.
really early.
Yeah.
So at least he got to raise you, right?
Yeah.
And I feel grateful for that too for my own father, because he passed away when I was 16.
Hmm.
And he got to see me grow up and go through high school mostly. And, at least he can live with the memory that I was, like, going places, hopefully, right?
Like, definitely. I feel like I've had conversations with my dad about who I wanted to be in the future because those are the conversations I had with him a lot. He was a very, like, education is number one type of guy. He's like, everything else can wait. Education, you need to get your degree.
Okay.
And so I would always have conversations with him. He's like, okay, what do you want to do? What's your plan? Who do you want to become? And I always told him, I'm like, I either want to be a social worker or become a lawyer, you know?
Okay.
And I am glad that he got to know those stuff. And if I do become a social worker or a lawyer, at least, he knew that's what I wanted to
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, that must be great that he can live with the memory that you're gonna do something you want to do, right?
do.
So what do you think his passing changed your what you wanted to do, or did you always want to do like a social worker?
I feel like it kind of changed a little bit because I wanted to be a social worker, but I wanted to help women and children.
Uh,
But I feel like with his passing, it kind of switched to me wanting to work in hospitals. And because during his time at the hospital, no shade, but I felt like the social workers, they didn't really help me much. And so I feel like I want to be the social worker I never got to have?
oh, I mean, yeah, that sounds really tough if you're going through something and the people around you aren't even helping you.
Hmm.
So, what do you think you've learned from that? Like, how would you be a better person in that situation?
I feel like just offer more than just being like, oh, I can write you a slip to get out of school or something. I understand that social workers, they have to work with a lot of people, but I felt like in that moment, even for just 10 minutes to just sit down and talk, because
Oh,
sometimes the only thing people want to do is talk. And so I feel like just listening and understanding what that person is going through really helps.
so you're saying they kind of just didn't really care enough about you?
Yeah, I felt like they were just a little dismissive.
Wow,
Just kind of felt like, they showed me that they were in a rush. Like, even if you're in a rush, don't show the person you're in a rush. Like, the
that's
person is grieving. Like, they are in a state, like, it's horrible for them. And you're like, oh, well, I gotta go do stuff, but I'll be right back. I gotta do whatever, whatever. I'll be right back. But it's like, just 5 minutes is all the person's asking just to talk. That's it.
yeah, it's just about that empathy, showing
Exactly.
that you care.
Hmm.
All right, so building on that point of empathy, what do you think is something the workers could do to help show their empathy better?
Um, that is a good question.
Yeah,
Um, Honestly, just sit and listen.
yeah.
I feel like that's really important for somebody who's grieving. They just want, somebody to listen to what they're going through. And I'm not gonna lie, money.
That's fine. I mean, you can say that.
Because I
Makes
feel like,
sense.
especially because I can't speak for everyone, but in my situation,
Hmm.
when your dad was the one who was paying for almost like everything, and now you're not getting that source of income, it's kind of tough on the people remaining in the family.
Yeah.
So it's like, he got three kids, two of them are in university right now, like he was paying for most stuff. We just need money.
You need money. No,
Yeah,
that's valid though, because money is so important for everything, right?
exactly.
Like, so do you think the financial strain was like affecting your mental health as
Oh
well?
my gosh, yes. Like having to kind of, I guess, pick up the slack because, um, I guess things are being paid, right? Like, it's not like we're homeless. It's not like we're in a really, really tight spot, but a little help could go a long way.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like when you're desperate in terms of finances, everything else just goes second. So you can't
Mhm.
really focus on your mental health when you're already thinking about all these things.
No, definitely. Like I'm kind of at a point in my life where I don't do things I really want but need, you
Oh,
know? Like I had to put my wants aside, all, I guess the hangouts I used to do all the time, being able to be carefree, going out whenever I wanted, or, if I were to like quit a job, I could just stay home and do nothing. Because I'm like, hey,
mm.
my parents, I live with them and they can just pay for me in the time being until I get another job. But now it's like I can't afford to do that. I have to work.
You have to be working. And the problem with working is you can't just be like, no, I don't feel like it.
Exactly.
Right.
Because I love my mom. And so I want to help her the best that I can. I don't want her to ever feel like she doesn't have support from even her own kids. So I just, whenever I'm working, I give her whatever I can, and it might not be a lot, but it's something.
No, that's very kind of you. Like, it is good to support your family when they need it. And
Mhm.
I'm sure she's very proud of you. So, what do you think is something that has helped you get through these times then?
Um, I don't know, to be honest. I feel like I'm not at that point yet. I feel like I don't really have anything to like keep me going. So,
Or you're just working to work?
yeah, honestly.
Okay. Well, it's working to support your family
Yeah.
with your mom, right?
hmm
So, if your dad were still here, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Like, what would I be doing?
Yeah.
Um, honestly, I'm, I don't, hmm, I think I'd just be going out like a regular teenager, right? A regular 20-year-old going out whenever I wanted to, knowing that if I was low on money, I could be like, hey,
You can
daddy,
just
can I
ask
just
for
have
it.
money? Like, there are some times where I'm like, damn, I wish like heaven had like eat interact. Like, just ask for like 40 bucks, you know? So, I don't know. I don't really have that luxury anymore.
So you feel like because your dad died so early in your life that it kind of robbed you of a little bit of your teenage years?
Yeah, especially like my dad passing away, I think it was like a week and a half before my 20th. So
Um,
it was literally tough. Like I was telling him everything I wanted to do when I was 20.
um,
I'm like, I want to go to Calgary with friends and I want to be able to just have fun, whatever. But that turned into me celebrating my 20th at home, surrounded by a bunch of people and having to make like slideshows for like a funeral, having to discuss payments and stuff for like a casket or like what he's gonna wear or whatever. It's not something I wanted to do. And so I can say that being 20, it's not fun. At least now, it's really not fun. Especially when
okay.
we first started.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I also, luckily for me, I didn't have to like plan my father's funeral or whatever. That was my sister. But for me, it was mostly just grieving that was the tough part,
hmm
and I was still in school at the time. I was in 12th grade, and I had to deal with all of that while it was near exams too, so it was a lot
hmm
of stress for me. And I'm sure when your father passed, it was stressful for you.
No, definitely. It was during exam season, so I was spending most of my time studying in hospital rooms.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really tough.
So like the beeping and stuff, did you have that?
No, definitely. Like I feel like for I guess a good 2 months, it was so hard to sleep because I felt like no, it's not even okay. I felt like when I would close my eyes and I would try to go to sleep, I felt like I was back in the hospital room. Like it was a constant nightmare of just hearing nurses' footsteps, hearing people, change monitors or change IV bag fluids, whatever, and hearing machines, and everything. Like it was really, really tough.
Wow, yeah, I mean that must be hard to deal with. So I
Mm.
appreciate your openness in sharing that.
Yeah, I feel like the more I talk about my dad, I feel like, the more people get to hear about him, his legacy kind of lives on in his memory. So I just love talking about him.
That's fair. I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you think that your father's passing left you with any trauma?
Trauma, honestly, yeah. I mean, any kid who is close to their parent and has, that bond and them suddenly passing away does affect you a lot. And it has really, really affected me. For a good month, I couldn't even go outside because every time I would see like a little girl with her dad, I would just break down. It was so
Yeah.
tough because I'm like, me. Like, I would have that thought of there are so many men out there who would not even claim their children. So many
Yeah,
deadbeats,
that's true.
but the lovable guys who are there for their children, who are present in their children's lives, like they die. And it's like, why is that?
Yeah, I mean, but if he was a deadbeat and he died, you wouldn't even know, right?
Exactly. Or
So
if I did know, I wouldn't feel anything,
you wouldn't. I feel like I would feel a little bad because he is my blood,
Oh,
right? If he was,
definitely.
even if he's a deadbeat.
Definitely. But you would not feel like that, like s- that heavy sadness, You would
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, that's my dad, but I didn't grow up with him. He's kind of a stranger. But when you go from seeing your dad every day to not seeing him at all, it's like, it's weird. Sometimes my brain is like, no, he's at work, or like he's on a business trip, or he's visiting family. But then when I wake up and I see like my eulogy and I see obituaries and I see stuff in the house, I'm like, okay, he's gone, you
That
know?
must be devastating.
Mm.
Like, do you ever have dreams of him?
Yeah, definitely. Since he passed away before I finished college, I have dreams of him being at my college graduation, of him walking me down the aisle. But that's what I was really looking forward to the most was him walking me down the aisle. Because like I'm his little girl, and it's something that every girl kind of dreams of, having that daddy daughter dance at, her wedding, her future husband or fiance, whatever, meeting his father-in-law, your children getting to know their grandfather. Like those are things that unfortunately I'll be missing out on. Instead of him talking about his experience to his grandchildren, I'll have to like tell them what I know, which is not a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he won't get to see you get married or anything,
Hmm.
but it's still nice knowing that he would probably be proud of you, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I just, get kind of sad because I'm like, oh my goodness, like, what if I want my future boyfriend or something to meet him? I feel like he's kind of also missing that.
Yeah, well, it's like meeting the in-laws, right?
Exactly. Everybody dreams of meeting their well, not dreams, but like they would meet their in-laws and they're meeting both mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, oh, he'll just be meeting mom.
Yeah, well, at least your mom's still in your life.
Oh, definitely,
And
yeah.
she's good, right?
Yeah, I love
That's
my
good.
mom. I do.
It's good to hear that. Yeah, me too. Like, I love my mom. I'm really happy she's still with me.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's like even without your dad, at least your mom knows him very well, right?
Yeah, like my mom was with him since she was very young. She was in her 20s when they met, in her mid 20s when they got married. So she has spent most of her life with him. So I feel like even though it's like hitting me harder, like it's hitting me hard as his daughter, as his wife, like who spent most of her life with him, it must hit even harder. And I could not imagine losing my husband after I spent like 30 years with him, you know?
Yeah, because a part of any marriage, it's like the thought of growing older with them, right?
Definitely. Yeah. No, it was tough like seeing old couples and being like, what if that was like, my parents, you know?
Yeah, well, it might be you then. It'll be
Yeah.
you, hopefully,
Hopefully,
right?
I'm hoping that, my husband and I, my future husband and I get to grow old and see our grandchildren together, you know?
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a nice thought for me too, like seeing the next generation and
Mm-hmm.
getting to see them grow old as you grow old as well. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's unfortunate that neither of our fathers were able to do that.
Hmm.
But I guess you can still leave a legacy that they would have been proud
Yeah,
of.
definitely. And a part of me does hope that, like, if I have a son, my son's kind of like my dad, because it's like, hey, he's kind of low key here still, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And again, that's something I think about, like how much of personality is genetic and how much
Exactly.
of it is like your upbringing.
Hmm.
Because I feel like, yeah, if you have a kid, they might just randomly be like you or your dad, even though they would never know what it was like.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
just deep within their DNA or something.
Hmm. Like my mom, she would tell me how much like I resemble her mom. And I've never met my grandma, you know?
Yeah.
So I
So
think
yeah,
it's just cool.
it's just in your DNA.
Exactly.
Like what's an example?
Um, the way I'm very patient with people and I'm very
Mm.
motherly. My
Oh,
grandma, like everybody called her mom. So
oh,
even people who weren't her children, you know? And for me, like my friends, people I know, they would call me mom or they would be like, "Oh my gosh, like you act like my mom." Like, "Oh my gosh, yes, you know?"
yeah.
Children love me,
Okay.
so
Cool.
I love being a mother figure to people. I really don't mind it.
Yeah, that's very kind of you then. So you think you got her caringness and empathy?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and as you said, like social workers and nurses, they're lacking empathy in it, right?
Yeah.
So it's good that you have it at least. You should teach them a lesson.
No, definitely.
So what would you say to like one of the nurses if you could go back?
Do your job. And I'm not just talking about changing, sheets or taking notes or, whatever. Like, be there for your patients. And
Mm,
I know that one of the rules is not to get too emotionally involved with your patients because I get it. People go through things and it's tough. It's really mentally taxing. But to at least show that you care is enough
mm,
because walking out of the hospital the day he passed away, it's like just seeing the nurses be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then go with the other nurses and start laughing about something. Like it hurts, but I know you're not supposed to get emotionally involved, but like wait till I step out of the hospital to continue your conversation about what's your next trip gonna be like, you know? I don't want to hear about you going to Bali next weekend or getting your nails done or whatever while like my father just died. Like I'm not trying to hear all that.
yeah, I can imagine how terrible that would be just hearing
Mhm.
that. I didn't know they talked about that stuff like in front of you.
Oh no, they do.
Wow. So, well, I feel like nurses also go through a lot. Like they've probably just gotten desensitized to it.
No, definitely. And honestly, I understand. Working in healthcare, it's tough. But I feel like just as someone on the other side having to deal with that, it's like just show you care, even just a little bit. Nobody's asking you to be emotionally involved in like my father's passing, but more than just a, oh, I'm sorry, and then going, oh, girl, I'm gonna go get my nails done. Like, please.
Mm,
Like, you can do all that when I'm gone.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is good to understand where the nurses are coming from, but you're right. Like you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Do you think the doctors did that as well, or was it just the nurses?
Um, the doctors, I mean, I wouldn't see them often, right? They usually just came in for diagnosis, came in for uh like explaining whatever is happening with him. I feel like but they also were kind of, I would say, a little mean, a little,
Oh,
right? Because as a family, you're hoping that, your loved one gets better, even if there's a chance that they won't be. I know you're not supposed to give false hope. I would never ask a doctor to lie to their patients, you know? But saying things like, "Oh well, if he were to survive, then he'd have the worst time." Or he wouldn't even be able to do whatever, whatever. It's like nobody
Well,
wants to hear.
they said that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Well, I mean, were they? Maybe they were just saying it how it is, though.
I mean, sure, but like at that moment, nobody wants to hear that. But I
So,
get they're doing their job.
yeah, I mean, being in healthcare is really tough, like balancing your job and empathy. I feel like, because you'd only go to a hospital if you were in a bad position, right?
Yeah,
So you literally every day it's a dilemma that way. And
definitely.
ethics is a big part of like healthcare. And I know doctors have to go through this, like the Hippocratic Oath,
Yeah,
stuff like that. So it's good that you can give some feedback and maybe you can I feel like if I can become a doctor, I would definitely try to be more empathetic because I've heard these stories too, which is odd because for me, I found the nurses were very empathetic to me. Like I never had any of those issues you were talking about when I was with my father. So I don't know, it must be different from place to place as well.
Honestly, I feel like it really does vary place to place. Cause the first hospital we went to, the nurses and the doctors were very lovely.
Yeah.
They were great. They did their job, but they also understood our position and how we're feeling. But the second hospital he was transferred to, those nurses were not the best.
Was it a cancer hospital?
The first one we had went to, it was a hospital that had like a stroke team.
Oh.
So they knew more about what to do and how to handle the situation, but it was way too far from where I was living. So we had to transfer him to a hospital that was closer to home, but it wasn't the best hospital. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say it wasn't the best hospital, but what can we do, you know?
Yeah. So do you think the first one was more specialized?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So maybe because it was more specialized, they were trained to be more empathetic to
Yeah.
people. So
And I feel like that's what it is, yeah.
so it's not about just randomly the people, it's like their training.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that's something they could work on that. That's
Yeah.
interesting to think about.
Shout out to the respiratory therapist, though. That was my girl. She did what she had to do, but she also understood, like, I understand. That's your dad, you know? But she also did her job.
Yeah. I mean, that's so she would be a great example of what how to balance empathy and doing your job.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right. Well, unfortunately, that'll be the end for today. So it was nice talking to you, and we had a great conversation. So if
Yeah.
anyone wants to contact you, what's your information?
My Instagram is abby.k underscore, spelled well, it's
Oh, no
spelled
problem.
ABBYY.k underscore.
Sounds great. Well, it was nice talking to you, and I'll see you some other time. Goodbye.
Thank you.